guide, I asked you guys the question, what is a costume exactly? And to that, are these the answers? A costume is a set of clothing that's typically worn with a purpose. So the tunic of your sports team basically is a costume. The outfit of like you at your job, if you need to wear clothing for your job, is a costume as well. So it's a set of clothing for a particular activity or something like that, or a particular period in history. And a costume also is a set of clothing worn in order to look like something else or someone else. And that's mainly for party or entertainment. Then there are different types of costumes. I don't have a cosplay photo, so that's just something that I grabbed. So if anyone here has a cosplay and is like, yo, I want to be in this panel, please come see me afterwards. But a cosplay is made to mimic a character that exists. So a character from My Little Pony, a character from whatever show or book or series or you name it, franchise, that's a cosplay. Cosplay also can be looking like a fursuit. A fursuit mostly is a character that you made yourself. You can just come in, it's okay. Let's see, it's a character that you made yourself that isn't exactly human. So with a fursuit, you can make it look more like the character that it's supposed to look like. And you need to be careful because they get warm very easily. So for my character Olivier, this is built into his snout, which is a computer fan on a battery with a switch, because otherwise this isn't fun. And what also isn't fun is that the vision that I have with him is about this, with a blind spot in the middle. So keep that in mind. There are also a different type, which is the cartoon fursuits. They have better vision, oftentimes better ventilation. But a fan like this will be your best friend if you go fursuit. Also for cosplays, by the way, just get a hand fan, they really save the day. Let's see what else we have. We have LARP costumes. They are made for characters that you often are 24/7. So this is a character of mine for a LARP, in which case I go there full days from like start to finish. In the morning I put this on, in the evening I take it off, I go sleep, rinse and repeat. So you need to be careful with these type of costumes that they are safe to fight in and to fall in. That isn't. Because the horns are so wide and so stable that if I go down I always have to plan my fall because otherwise it will break. And that will ruin the illusion for everyone. But I made this costume before I joined the LARP, but they didn't allow me to change the character because they love him. So let's see what else we have. Yeah, costumes for the entertainment industry. That right there is a creature that was made for a movie that is was a sci-fi thriller. The vision and everything was so difficult in this costume. I am in this photo as well. That's my shoe. I was hunkered down behind the contraption that was there, trying to like regulate everything and keep an eye on the actress in this suit, because she couldn't see anything. She could see in front of her, and that was very limited. Just like a fursuit, it was a fun time, but the movie was very epic. So yeah, with these costumes, you oftentimes have a handler around you, like when you're in the costume, and it's not like 24/7 that you're wearing it. Let's see, then we have types of fabric for your costumes. I always categorize them in two categories, which is the technique and the material. So you have woven or knit fabrics, and you have natural material or synthetic material. So the difference between the woven and the knit fabric, this is very zoomed in, but the one on the far that way is the woven one, which is basically a braided material that is very secure. It doesn't have a lot of stretch. Let's see. Yeah, this is a woven material. You can hold it around, but you can see that it's like very sturdy, and the crossing over on the material is clearly visible on that. And then you have a knit fabric, which is this one. The main difference is that the woven fabric is made out of a lot of strands of material. Knit is oftentimes just one going back and forth. Because of that, knit material is more stretchy, it has more give to it, and a woven material is not. So that's something to keep in mind with your planning of your costume. Does it need to breathe? Does it need to move? Does it need to hold its stability? Because with choosing your fabric, this is something to keep in mind. Then we have the types of materials, which are natural and synthetic. These are both woven. Yeah, these are both woven materials, just like that one. But you almost all have had it in hands. Can you guess what type of material it is? If it's natural or if it's synthetic?
Synthetic.
It's a natural fiber. It's, if I'm correct, cotton. A synthetic material oftentimes doesn't like regulate your body warmth, and a natural fiber does. So this is something made for a LARP, in which you have to like move around a lot. So you have to lose your body heat and sweat. Fursuits, on the other hand, are basically made from synthetic material. So this doesn't really breathe. That does. And with fursuit fur, it's oftentimes a knit fabric as well. So it does give a little bit more, not a lot. What else? Do we have questions about? We'll come pick it up. Do we have any questions about material? If you have any questions later on, do ask. Because we're now going to go with the wigs. And I actually wanted to have the convention wigs with me, but they're in use right now. So, but there are two types of wigs. There is the lace front and a regular wig. The lace front wigs are often used in bigger theater productions, movies. They have a bit in the front that's very sheer, that has hairs knotted into it. Because of that, it's nearly invisible you're wearing a wig. The regular wigs oftentimes have a more harsh line on the front. They're mainly used for cosplay, for parties, stuff along those lines. Yeah, that's the main difference between them. Lace front wigs also easier to style because oftentimes they have a bit of a skin top, as they call it. So you can part it different ways than just like out of the box like the regular wigs. Sorry. Then we're going to talk about the types of repairs. The disaster over there was what the aftermath was of a LARP. I still don't know how I managed to do that, but it worked. So yeah, I just took it back home, flipped it inside out, sew up the holes. But if you're at a con and you have a lovely prop that has been played with very much, sometimes the seam pops. So like over here we have a tiny little accident that I will sew after the con. But yeah, in that case, my repair kit kind of looks shabby right now. but there's a needle and a thread in here, safety pins, some painkillers, extra batteries for the fursuit, just whatever you think is needed to fix it up. Because oftentimes when you're wearing makeup, it smudges, so you need like makeup remover pads, fresh lipstick, stuff along those lines. So you don't need to bring all of this normally to a con. This is just my kit that I use for the theater downstairs, but just one brush is enough.
Why can you?
You can, but you will have a lot to bring with you. And then we have the types of dirtiness after a con or an event. Because sometimes you don't plan to be rained on, but that does happen. So in that case, just let it air dry, phone it out. Because that, yeah, you can't do a lot if you're rained that badly. And with the dry dirtiness, which is on the other side, dusts, makeup, that's also something to keep in mind. But then you can choose between deep cleaning or spot cleaning. Spot cleaning, I often use vodka spray or a wet rag, just like, so English, dab it out of. And vodka spray is basically if you have an elaborate ball gown that you can put into the washing machine, it kills bacteria. So if you spray it on there, it kills the bacteria. You're just like, you can't wash it, so you just do it what you have. And with deep cleaning, fabric oftentimes come with like a washing label. So I always make a little fabric patch if I make a costume with all the techniques that I plan on using on the costume. So if I think, okay, this thing needs to go in the washing machine, I can test out if the fabric holds up in the washing machine. So you don't have to drag in your entire cosplay and hope for the best, but you can put your little test rack in there, and if it comes out clean and looking like it should, then you can put the costume in as well. And if you know what the material is made out of, washing goes easier. So that's something like track back your steps. What did you use? Can hot glue go into the washing machine? Most likely not. But if you test it on a piece of fabric and you put it in the washing machine anyway and it comes out clean, you can always try. Another thing to keep in mind with cleaning your costume is your own hygiene. Because if you have a clean body, your costume will stay clean longer. We already had the 6 hours of sleep, 2 good meals and a shower in the con guide, so I won't cover that. But if you take off your costume and your makeup with proper care, your costume will survive longest. I've seen people with wigs just like ripping them off that have been glued on their foreheads, taking off these little baby hairs. So your body won't like that. And neither does your wig, because the lace front is very delicate. If you have like prosthetic ears and stuff, take them off with a proper makeup remover, because again, your skin won't like that. And if the zipper is there, use the zipper to take them off, unlace. Just like take proper care of your costume and it will stay the best. Now that you have conned your costume, taking it off and on again, you probably need to store it. And in those cases, there are various ways to store them. For my fursuit hat at home, I have it on a trophy mount on the wall. So it looks absolutely badass, yes, but he's a dusty boy. So when I go to a convention, I always have to clean him before I bring him. And I do that because I absolutely love my costumes and I like to display them. But in some cases, you do need to like properly store them away. And for that, I have for him a custom-made bag that he can fit into. I can zip up, and he's padded, protected, and with this I also take him with me to conventions. Another con, he's in the back, safely backstage. And some pieces of fabric can't handle being folded very well because they get folds very easily. Some fabric, like if you have a knit sweater, it stretches out if you hang it up. So a lot of different costumes have a lot of different needs. So if you make something, do look up, like, can I hang a knit sweater? Because if you have it in storage for a long time before you go take it to a con again, it might just have been like sagged. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh yeah, tip for storage. What I usually do is I have a bag and everything from a certain character is in one bag. Then from the next character it's in another bag. Then from the next character it's in another bag. So my bags are actually labeled per character name. So I can just go like, oh, I need Oliver, I have Oliver here, and I need Dirt, I have Dirt here. In some cases, I have characters that share items. Then I use like the everything in one bag, and I label with what is in the bag. So if I'm looking for a tunic, I can just look for the bag with the tunics, and then look what are in there. And yeah, stackable bins are your best friends if you have a lot of costumes. Because you can put everything in there, you can look around it, what you need is in the bag or in the case, and get it that way. And some rules of thumb to keep in mind when you have your costumes worn. Air them out, even wigs, even everything. With a fursuit I always put them upside down and I roll up the neck like this. And in some cases I even stick a fan in their mouth so they can really air out, because they get very dirty very easily, and you can't easily wash a head like this. With him I have removable pads that I can just stick in there, take out, throw in the washing machine, because the padding is a contact point. Yeah, makeup has a date on the back, a best before date, which is usually a little tin. This is very small for you guys, but you can come see it in the end. Which says it's usable for 12 months, 24 months max. Those dates are on there for a reason, which is safety. In some cases, if you use a mascara like 3 years, you can get an eye infection, and no one wants an eye infection. And yeah, the most important thing I always tell everyone, your costume should be fun. Costumes are no competition, unless you're in a costume competition, of course, but that's a different thing. And it's a form of art, so people can come up to you saying, you are doing something wrong, but if your intention is for it to go that way, you don't do something wrong. And I need to check real fast because I need it elsewhere, but I'm still very well on track. So with that, hopefully till another panel. If you guys have questions, fire away. You can come close to see what everything is on the table. And I will go prepare the beer keg right now. So thank you very much for listening. Sorry if it was a little bit